Next, focus on the Syrian military that seized control of key high grounds around the city of Palmyra, so much in the headlines again, clinching a decisive advantage in the battle to liberate that area from Islamic State. OK, it's coming in from this way, as you can see. Now, in the south of the city, the army's pushing deeper into Palmyra orchards. In the north, military forces reportedly fought their way into a key ISIL stronghold there, Palmyra Castle. The Syrian army's advance is being helped by Russian airstrikes as well, according to Moscow. Correspondent from the Russia 24 news channel filmed drone footage of Palmyra's ancient architectural structures, some of them raised to the ground, though, of course, which are now also a fierce battleground again. That ancient part of Palmyra, often called the Venice of the Sands, is a UNESCO heritage site with some of the world's most precious monuments. Many were destroyed last year after the city was captured by Islamic State, which considers Palmyra's history as pagan and sacrilegious. That's why they did what they did. The advancing Syrian army says it's holding back, though, from deploying heavy artillery right now to try to preserve what remains of the old city. Here's the latest update I got from another journalist on the front line that I spoke to earlier.
Today, the army also seized a hill, which overlooks the entire city, making it possible to cover most of its territory. The military hopes to retake Palmyra completely within the next day or two. The city is so vital because it stands on the highway which leads to the self-proclaimed capital of Islamic State, the city of Raqqa.
Mixed response to what's happening. The Syrian army's advance is being welcomed by UNESCO, which calls Palmyra a martyr city. However, Washington, which of course also opposes Islamic State, is not impressed by Assad's gains against the terrorists here.
I'm not going to laud it because it's important to remember that one of the reasons Daesh is in Syria is because Assad's brutal crackdown on his own people created the kind of vacuum, if you will, that has allowed a group like ISIL or Daesh to flourish.
The U.S. State Department is not sure if the Syrian army kicking Daesh out of the ancient city of Palmyra is good news. State Department's Mark Toner said trading Daesh for Assad is not a great choice for Syrians. So journalists asked him if the U.S. would prefer that Daesh continue to control Palmyra.
Are you hoping that they push Daesh out of the city?
We, of course, our priority, and I said this yesterday, is defeating and destroying Daesh. That remains our priority. And yet, we also recognize that replacing Daesh's barbaric rule with Assad's tyranny is not a great trade-off or a great solution.
Earlier, when pressed on that question, the spokesman conceded that, quote, we think Daesh is probably a greater evil in this case. What's also interesting, when first asked about the reports of the Syrian army making advances against Daesh in Palmyra on Wednesday, Mark Toner spoke about alleged violations of the cessation of hostilities agreement by Assad's forces. He was immediately asked if he meant that fighting Daesh in Palmyra qualified as such a violation, and he said no, that was not what he meant. But had he not been asked persistent follow-up questions, he could have created the impression that the Syrian army was doing something wrong by trying to retake Palmyra from the terrorist group.